Civil liberties are fundamental rights and freedoms that are essential to the well-being and dignity of individuals in a democratic society. These rights are enshrined in various laws, constitutions, and international agreements, and are designed to protect citizens from government overreach and ensure that they are treated fairly and justly. What are civil liberties? Civil liberties are the rights and freedoms that are guaranteed to individuals by law and are essential to the functioning of a democratic society. These rights include the freedom of speech, assembly, and association, as well as the right to a fair trial, protection from arbitrary arrest and detention, and the right to privacy. Civil liberties are designed to protect individuals from government overreach and ensure that they are treated fairly and justly. Importance of civil liberties. Civil liberties are essential to the well-being and dignity of individuals in a democratic society. They provide a framework for the protection of individual rights and freedoms and ensure that citizens are treated fairly and justly. Civil liberties also promote social cohesion and stability by providing a sense of security and predictability for citizens. Types of civil liberties. There are several types of civil liberties, including freedom of speech, the right to express one's opinions and ideas without fear of censorship or retribution. Freedom of assembly, the right to gather and assemble with others for the purpose of expressing opinions or promoting a cause. Freedom of association, the right to associate with others for the purpose of promoting a cause or interest. Right to a fair trial, the right to a fair and impartial trial, including the right to a lawyer and the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. Protection from arbitrary arrest and detention, the right to be protected from arbitrary arrest and detention, and to be treated fairly and justly if arrested or detained. Right to privacy, the right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures, and to be protected from the collection and use of personal information without consent. Freedom of the press, the right to freedom of the press, including the right to publish and disseminate information without censorship or retribution. Right to petition, the right to petition the government for redress of grievances, including the right to file lawsuits and seek justice. Examples of civil liberties in action. There are many examples of civil liberties in action, including the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement in the United States was a powerful example of civil liberties in action. African Americans used their civil liberties to challenge segregation and discrimination and to demand equal rights and opportunities. The Women's Suffrage Movement. The women's suffrage movement was another example of civil liberties in action. Women used their civil liberties to demand the right to vote and to participate in the democratic process. The Anti-War Movement. The anti-war movement in the 1960s and 1970s was an example of civil liberties in action. Protesters used their civil liberties to express their opposition to the Vietnam War and to demand an end to the conflict. Challenges to civil liberties. There are many challenges to civil liberties, including government overreach. Governments may use their power to restrict civil liberties, including the right to free speech, assembly, and association. Terrorism. Terrorism poses a significant threat to civil liberties, as governments may use their power to restrict civil liberties in the name of national security. Economic inequality. Economic inequality can lead to a lack of access to civil liberties, including the right to education, healthcare, and economic opportunity. Racism and discrimination. Racism and discrimination can lead to a lack of access to civil liberties, including the right to equal treatment under the law.